Madam Speaker. To start me, let me congratulate you and the Deputy Speaker for having been elected in the House. The late Jagannath's government damaged our economy to such an extent that we were nearly on the verge of bankruptcy and on the verge of obtaining junk credit rating status. The least mistake we commit will lead us towards the slippery slide of economic chaos. Madam Speaker, during the electoral campaign, we were campaigning against the high cost of living. We were campaigning against the depreciation of rupee. We were campaigning against the purchasing power which was going down day by day. We were campaigning against the rupee which was depreciating day by day. From December 2019 onwards, the rupee was depreciated up till 22%, followed by the cumulative inflation rate of 33% from December 2019 to September 2024. That was a massive loss in the purchasing power of the public. And to add to it, the decision of the Bank of Mauritius at that time to print billions of rupees, that also led to the decline of our economic situation. The situation was so bad that today we have to pay for the consequences. Madam Speaker, what did we inherit from the previous government? We have inherited a coffer which is empty. They planned practically nothing. We have inherited fraud, corruption, nepotism, and at the same time, oppression at all levels, unlawful arrest. They were looking for all those who were against them. Even if you are not against them, if you are not with them, it means you are against them. So, those were the days when people could not sleep at rest. I still remember those days. We were out of power, we were in the opposition, and we were harassed unnecessarily. There was not a single day that was passed that when we were not, as former members of government, we were not harassed. They didn't spare anybody, whether they were parliamentarians, trade unions, lawyers, Facebookers, or even the internet users. None was spared. To get the favors of the government, we had to crawl down, we had to crawl before them. I still remember there were a few ministers at that time. They were having meetings at night, holding meetings in Katrebone, particularly 3 of them, hitting at blackmailing officers, compelling them to make statements against the former ministers, and they were even blackmailing the service providers. I still remember those difficult days. Madam Speaker, but everything was not lost. Everything was not lost, though we know that was a dangerous moment, a dangerous period. I still remember again those turbulent days, turbulent times when you had no right to speak to any other person. You are scared because if they happen to catch you talking to anybody, they can suspect you and they can make allegations against you. Those were the difficult days, hard days, dangerous days. But everything was not lost because, as we know, there were people who stood against them, and a person of no less a person than the leader of our own party, Navin Ramgoolam, who was then not the Prime Minister. He was in the opposition. He was not even a member of Parliament, but he stood against overwhelming odds. We still remember those difficult days when he had to go to Kazan Central repeatedly. Kazan Central, so many heaps and heaps of allegations were leveled against him, but still he was able to stand against those overwhelming odds. We remember, turbulent times give us at times incredible opportunities in order to prove ourselves. In all adversities, there is in his depths a treasure of spiritual blessing secretly hidden. He did not run away from the responsibilities. He did not hide in his cells. He did not go underground. He did not retreat in bunkers, but he came out forcefully. He strove, he sweated, and ultimately he succeeded. Today he is the Prime Minister of this country. And this is an example that we can follow, all of us. That reminds me of Tagore. He says, "Give me the strength never to disown the poor, nor to bend my head before insolent might." And in fact, he didn't bend his head before insolent might. Madam Speaker, today we have got 2 leaders in this House. Both of them had gone through difficult times, hard times, and today they are here, and they are the trustee of the national cause. They are the symbol of the nation, and we are proud to have two such persons who are leading this country, and because of this, we are going to prosper, we are going to do very well in the near future. Though we had difficult times, we had hard times, I'll still remember those days, those horrible hours, terrific hours, when even I was being harassed. My parents, my relatives, my own family, the way they were being harassed. I still remember the day when I was almost dragged to Caserne Centrale, not 1, 2, 3, many times, and at times forcefully I was compelled to make certain statements in Caserne. I have not yet forgotten. I have not yet forgotten that evening at around 4:50 when I was supposed to be put behind in Mocha Detention Center. But I had told them there is no power on earth that can touch me because I haven't committed any mistake. And by the grace of God, they couldn't touch me. 4 allegations, 4 charges were leveled against me. 4 charges leveled against me. But the DPP struck out the case. The then Commissioner of Police appealed against the decision of DPP to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court struck out the case. Those were the difficult days. And when we go down the memory lane, at times we shudder when we think about those difficult moments. Madam Speaker, it is better, as we say, it is better to be a lion for a day than to become a sheep for whole life. We had a lion, and in fact, Madam Speaker, it's better to die. It is better to die standing rather than you live your whole life on your knees. This is not, Navin Ramgoolam hadn't done that. And for that he deserves all the praise that he merits. Because he did it, he worked it, nobody expected. Whenever you talk to people, in those days, nobody even dreamt that a day will come when Labour Party will be back to power. And today we are back to power. We have got good leaders. Good leaders are those who lead the country. Bad leaders are those like him who mislead the country. Good leaders are those who guides the people. Bad leaders are those who misguide people. Good leaders are those who serve the nation. And bad leaders are those who make the nation serve them, who amass wealth, and they fatten themselves. This is what they have done. And that's why they are today out of power. Madam Speaker, 2014 to 2024 was the darkest period of Mauritian history. The darkest period, and darkness, automatically after darkness, the dawn follows. And this is what we have seen today. They have looted the country. That's why they have been booted out. These people, they have used political power to amass wealth, climb the social ladder, and they have fattened themselves. They have built their fortune on the misfortune of the common man. And I can say on this issue that's why we say the lesson that we have learned is politics. Power is poison. It corrupts our conscience. It hardens our heart, and it confounds our understanding. We have to exercise power with vigilance. This is a lesson that we have learned in our life. When we go through memory lane, we think of the 10 years that have passed. This is a lesson that we have learned, that never be so arrogant in life. Never be so arrogant, because one of the days you have to pay the consequences. Madam Speaker, we are free today. The day when we got election results, something strange happened. Everybody felt at that time that we are free. They didn't get anything in return, but they felt the freedom. And that's why I'm going to quote the same that my honorable friend had quoted a few hours ago, when about Tagore, the way he describes in what atmosphere our country should come up. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come from the depths of truth, where tireless striving strategy turns toward perfection, where the clear stream of reason hasn't lost its way into the dirty desert sands of that time, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. My Father, let my country awake. This is a prayer to the Lord that let our country awake, where there is freedom, there is no restriction. This is what we have given to the nation, and that is why today we are proud that we have got a nation, we have got a country where there is freedom, we can express ourselves. Madam Speaker, we have to say, being given that now we are in power, we must have courage of conviction, we must have superb values. We have to be firm in our conviction, but we have to be friendly. We have to be tough in our work, but we have to be tender towards those people who are laissés pour compte, those who deserve our attention and our care. We have to be courageous, but we have to be compassionate towards our countrymen who are in fact passing through difficult economic moments today in our country. We don't believe. We should stop believing. We have passed through difficult days. We should stop believing in failures. We have to believe now in results. We should forget about tragedies. We should learn from lessons from them. We should stop talking about problems. We have to look at possibilities, how we are going to help our nation. Let us not be a prisoner of the past. Let's be an architect of the future. That is what I believe. Madam Speaker, we have got a caring government because I have told we have got two good leaders. Those who have passed difficult moments, and we have learned, as I say, in all adversities, there is in its depths a treasure of spiritual blessing secretly hidden. Let us care for our children. We have to care for our babies. We have to care for our youth. We have to care for our mothers and fathers, our laissés pour compte, our those who are deprived of the basic necessities of life. And since I have taken over, we have to provide them a clean environment amidst the dangerous viruses which is spreading everywhere, but we have to provide them with a clean environment even amidst difficulties, amidst hardship. Madam Speaker, we are born to serve. We are born to serve and to share, but not to grab and to grieve. That's why we say we have to help each and everybody who deserves it. Since I have taken over as Minister of Health, I have left no stone unturned to help the lowest, those who are the lowest strata of society, those who need our care, those who need our support in health matters. We are not disregarding anybody. You are not disregarding anyone. We are trying to support each and everybody. The last 10 years were the most faithful years in the history of our country, particularly as far as the health problem were concerned, because the legacy that they have left is alarming. The legacy is shocking, horrible, appalling, to say the least. Madam Speaker, we have got a Herculean task to perform. No new doctors were recruited. No new nurses were recruited. No training was provided to our doctors, to our nurses. No activity in the training school. But there was no activity. Still one of their own kith and kin were chosen to sit and to fatten herself in that training center. The relatives are there. 1,500 nurses we lack 1,500 nurses in our hospital. Only a handful were taken in the last 10 years. Today, the legacy, as I told you, is catastrophic. No money was left. They have spent all. They have dilapidated all money which was in the ministry. There is no money even to pay petrol. For petrol, we had no money to pay. We didn't have money to pay for foreign hospitals where our patients are getting treated. Even that we didn't have money to pay. And the then Minister of Finance were talking of economic boom, but he was claiming his foolishness to be wisdom. We don't have practically nothing in the Ministry of Finance. They have left the ministry bankrupt. There was nothing, no change. Yes, we do agree. New buildings were constructed. Yes. Foreign funds which were available were mismanaged. Yes. Millions of rupees were looted. Yes. And improper planning they had made. Yes, that is true. New cancer hospital they have given, there was no surgery, nothing was done. And equipments are lying idle, and all the consumables have already expired. The ministry, I can say, the health and medical services is in ICU, intensive care unit. Madam Speaker, on one hand, the public hospitals, they are dwindling, while the private hospitals are flourishing. Because as they say, make hay while the sun shines. Those who are close to the kitchen, they are constructing one private hospital after the other. Whereas what happened to our public hospitals, deliberately they have been disregarded, they have been weakened, and their attempt was made to push public from the public hospital down to the private sector. This is what we call the betrayal of trust. Madam Speaker, the saga of Molnupiravir and back and blisters is known to everybody. Millions of rupees have been wasted. Now, up till now, 575 million rupees we have to pay for all our vaccination. They have not paid. Nothing they have done. They have destroyed us. They have finished us. They have looted the wealth. And what they have bled the country white. This is what I can tell you, Madam Speaker, the traumatic and horrible experiences of our elders who had gone for dialysis in those days is known to everybody. How can we forget? They were left to die, confined in a place, and they were almost suffocated to death. I just can't understand in what situation they were dying. Nobody cared for them. Nothing was given to them. They were starved to death. Can we forget those traitors, the crime that they have committed? That is what we call a broad day murder. These our own kith and kin were murdered by this government. We cannot forget them. We cannot, even in years to come, this will keep on haunting them, because these people were killed deliberately, I can say. Because when you go through the reports and you read, you find how those patients were helpless. One couldn't see with his eyes. Another one was crippled, but still he was left in a corner, go and die. Nobody cared for them. That's why I say that they will be punished forever and ever. They can never come back. According to our health indicators, Madam Speaker, if you look at the health indicators, the health statistic report of 2023, the average expectancy life for male and female in 2015 was 74.5 years. 2015, 2023, it has gone down to 73.5. This means we are going down. We are going to die earlier. This is what I mean to say. Secondly, HIV/AIDS should have been zero by 2030. Unfortunately, it is increasing. In 2014, it was 333. In 2023, it is 405. Our target always was 2030. HIV/AIDS should be completely eliminated. Unfortunately, it is coming up. The deaths due to non-communicable disease has gone up by 20%. It's a shame for our country. In 2014, it was 6,809. In 2023, it's 8,129. This could have been avoided. They have practically done nothing. Money was voted, but money was looted. They have robbed us. They have finished the country. Madam Speaker, it's not mere statistics. This is the naked truth of mismanagement, failure of our system as a result of neglect, corruption, and nepotism. Madam Speaker, the health workers in our country, they need our support. They are our assets. You know how many cases of assault has been noted. But one thing I can assure on behalf of the government, I say we have to be pitiless against those rascals who are here hurting our health workers. We have to be without pity, because 2 days back there were 2 cases where our nursing officers, doctors were assaulted. I think that has to stop, and we have to see to this that this doesn't happen over again. Over time, we haven't paid them. Up till now, we are owing. We are not at fault. Now, up till now, we are owing 500 million rupees. I don't know how they have managed. How was it possible for almost 2 billion rupees over time? Now we are left with 500 million rupees, but we have to give guarantee to our workers that we are going to pay them all the overtime, and we have to recruit trained officers in the Ministry of Health. The School of Nursing has to be active over again. We have to have transparency and accountability everywhere. Our focus, Madam Speaker, is on prevention, prevention, and prevention. We have started a nationwide campaign in order to improve the health of our public. For example, non-communicable diseases, communicable diseases, HIV/AIDS, and substance abuse. Here I have to thank the Deputy Prime Minister for the support that he is extending us. Madam Speaker, the Mocha High Hospital is already saturated. Every day you have got at least 400 to 500 people queuing up. That is the reason why we have started decentralizing now in Flag Hospital. We have started one wing, and monthly we are carrying about 300 surgical eye cataract operations. Similar is the case in Suyak. We are going to move towards G2 Hospital as well. We are going to decentralize so that there won't be any need for our people, our patients to travel, and they have to queue up the whole day. This has to stop, because we are now in a modern country. We have to provide them with all amenities. Madam Speaker, the mental department is completely neglected. Nobody cared for the Brown Sequoia Hospital. And it's a shame for me to say in the House that we have got a report that many of the wards are full of bed bugs, and we have to remove all those beds now. We have to provide them with better conditions and new beds. Proper resources will be put, and a new emergency services are going to start, similar to SAMI, but here it will be manned by the psychiatrists. This is what we have promised, because we have to help those people. They need our support because they are desperate. Madam Speaker, overseas treatments, we have to give a fresh look to it to prevent abuse and to ensure sustainability. Strict criteria has to be imposed. As far as cancer hospital is concerned, it is already operational. Dextascam and PETSCAM it will be operational soon, in about 2 months or 3 months' time, because we have got certain components we have already ordered from abroad. And we are getting the support of oncological experts from India. We have to thank the Indian authorities for having been providing us with all types of support. Particularly a few hospitals of Chennai, they have also decided to provide at least space for our patients to stay in Chennai, because earlier we were having much difficulties. The parents who were accompanying the patients were having difficulties, and I have to thank my friend for the support that he has given me, Rajan Narsinghan. Through him and through our representative in Chennai, we were able to make such an arrangement. Madam Speaker, the diabetes that is devastating our nation, and the Prime Minister himself is personally concerned, and he had contact with Professor Davies Owen, a renowned professor in diabetology, to enlist his support, and I hope that we are going to get his support. And we have already started diabetes centers in all our hospitals, And yesterday I met one Professor Rajesh Kesavan, an expert in diabetic food from Chennai, and his services we have also retained, and he has accepted to come and to give us free support. Madam Speaker, as far as cardiovascular disease is concerned, our Prime Minister has established contact with Professor Derek Yellow and Professor Malcolm Walker from University College London. An international conference will be held towards the end of this year on diabetes, renal diseases, and cardiovascular. That will be held around October this year. And I'm also pleased to announce that we have also set up a renal transplant unit at Jawaharlal Nehru. For the time being, it's at Victoria, and we have recruited an international expert to set up the unit and to train our staff and also to conduct the renal transplant. We have, and in our program, we have got, in our government program, we have to set up a hospital specialized in obstetrics and gynecology, and one in pediatrics. The Public Health Act dates back to 1925. It has to be reviewed. The Pharmaceutical Board, Pharmaceutical Council, Medical Board, Dental Council, Mauritius Institute of Health, Trust Fund for Specialized Medical Care, all these will be relooked, and we have to give a new look, and we have to reform them. As conclusion, I would like to remind the House of a stark failure that symbolized 10 years of stagnation. That is the e-project, the computerization. I remember when earlier in 2014, under Labour government, we secured the support of Government of India through the intervention of our Prime Minister, so that they could have helped us in setting up the e-project. Unfortunately, when we were out of power, the new government that came, they rejected that proposal of the Government of India, and they have left everything as it was. But I can assure, because there's a saying, they say they slept beneath the moon, they basked beneath the sun, and they led a life of going to do, and they died politically without being done. This is what they have done. They promised, they haven't done it. I can assure the House that we are going very fast with it. But let me conclude. In conclusion, I have to quote the father of the nation. I can't do without quoting him, because I have the habit, whenever I deliver speeches, I have the habit of quoting him. Before 1982, I remember his words, and I'm going to quote it as conclusion. I'm quoting it. He said, "The Labour Party is not a perfect political party. The Labour Party may not be a perfect political party. For that matter, no party is perfect. yet we have practiced the virtues of tolerance and patience, of understanding for those who are against us, of reverence for our life, of compassion for the sick and needy, of concern for our youth. We have protected the weak and humbled the pride of enemies of people. We have paid our dues. We have honored our obligations, and we have exerted ourselves for the welfare of our country. We have imparted momentum to economic activities and social programs. That's why Mauritius is held in high regard as a stronghold of democracy in a world where unemployment is endemic, famine is rampant, and misery is widespread. End of quote. Let us make our life sublime and departing leave behind us footprints in the sand of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.